into broader support to overcome opposition from the countries that are unconvinced and crucially emerge as a candidate acceptable to all 5 permanent members of the Security Council. But what will it take for Otunu to move from contender to consensus candidate, and what would a victory mean for Uganda? We find out in our weekly segment of a Diplomatic Watch. For now, here are some of the other stories that are making headlines tonight.
NTV Weekend Edition.
Brought to you by DFCU. Going further together.
Tonight,
what I offer, if I'm given the opportunity to be Secretary General, is broad and very deep experience of working across all the 3 pillars of the UN.
Uganda's bid for the UN's top diplomatic job is entering a critical phase, with Olaro Otunu's campaign gathering momentum. We ask how far he can go and what he must overcome to win.
95% of the drunkards in the bars are men, and over 90% of people in prison are men.
The Archbishop of the Church of Uganda, His Grace Stephen Samuel Kazimba Mugalu, has bid farewell to Christians in South Rwenzori Diocese, urging them to preserve unity and the peace that has returned to the region. Also on NTV Weekend Edition. Government has pledged to improve tourism roads in the Kigezi sub-region to ease access to tourist attractions and promote local tourism. And
potential of crushing 60,000 tons.
A new gold processing unit has been launched in West Nile, targeting to produce 20 kilograms of gold per week.
You are watching NTV Weekend Edition.
DFCU. Going further together.
You are watching NTV Weekend Edition.
Thank you for joining us once again. I'm Mildred Bedun with Susan Mujawananda on Sign Language. In our top story tonight, Patience Rawogo, the daughter of President Yoweri Museveni, has been consecrated as an Episcopal Bishop of Covenant Nation Churches. The ceremony was attended by President Museveni and First Lady Janet Museveni, among other dignitaries. The President also used the ceremony to thank God for the recovery of the First Lady.
Pastor Patience Rawogo, daughter of President Yoweri Museveni and First Lady Janet Museveni, has been consecrated as an Episcopal Bishop of Covenant Nations Churches in a ceremony attended by a number of religious leaders and government leaders.
We pray, Lord God Almighty.
President Museveni and First Lady Janet Museveni were among those who attended the ceremony. On August 19th, Janet Museveni made a public appearance at State House NTV, where she joined President Museveni in receiving international evangelist Bishop Dr. Ladonna Osborne, and today attended the first public gathering in 5 months at Pastor Patience Rawogo's consecration.
2026 is forever marked as the year we delivered my own life from the very jaws of death. When the enemy came in like a flood, you lifted up a standard against him. Thank you, Lord, for delivering my life from the snare of the enemy.
First Lady Janet Museveni says Uganda has transformed from the years of civil war.
To think that Uganda, which was a war-ravaged nation only 40 years ago, is now a net export of peace to the region and beyond through the UPDF peacekeeping missions. To think that Uganda, whose people were scattered around the world as refugees, now hosts more than 1 million refugees from the region.
President Yoweri Museveni has thanked God for the recovery of First Lady Janet Museveni. For a while, First Lady Janet Museveni had not been in the public eye, including attending several public engagements.
I want to salute, apart from thanking God, to thank the medical staff, who were involved in supporting her, and also our children, Mhozi, Natasha, Patience, Diana, who have been together with the medical staff looking after her.
According to President Museveni, Bishop Patience Rabogo becomes the first bishop in the family.
Never had even a catechist in my family. So I thank God for having a whole Bishop Banange.
The Church of Uganda, His Grace Stephen Samuel Kazimba Mugalu, has bid farewell to Christians in South Rwenzori Diocese, urging them to preserve unity and the peace that has returned to the region. The Rwenzori sub-region has in the past endured years of insurgency and civil unrest, episodes that claimed lives and slow development.
It was a farewell marked by reflection, thanksgiving and a call to protect peace as the Archbishop of the Church of Uganda, Stephen Kazimba Mugalu, visited South Rwenzori Diocese as he prepares to retire in August next year. The Archbishop also challenged organizations working to empower the girl child to equally pay attention to boys while calling upon parents to ensure that their children remain in school.
95% of the drunkards in the bars are men. And over 90% of people in prison are men. 95% of people who are in sports betting are men. So when you give attention to the boys, and you mothers, the boys love their mothers so much. You can imagine what you go through. Even these big boys, when they come home, they're with their mother. Mothers, speak to these boys to love us also. If we are to change this world, the mothers talk to your boys, and the fathers.
Former Minister and Second Deputy Prime Minister, Dr. Crispus Chiyonga, told the Archbishop that efforts are being stepped up to improve food security. This follows research by Makerere University indicating that the Rwenzori sub-region, particularly Kasese, continues to face significant challenges of malnutrition.
So the information we have in Makerere at the School of Public Health indicates that along the Rwenzoris and Kigezi, for children who are 5 years and below, 40% are stunted. They are short for their age. So this is a big war, fellow Christians, which we must fight.
Meanwhile, Parliament Health Committee Chairperson Dr. Julius Mande Rude called on the Ministry of Health to reconsider extending support to church-founded health facilities through the primary health care framework, particularly by deploying health workers.
There is an issue that we continue to pray for, which is about the health, the human resource, especially those who are seconded by government to PNFPs. We are in receipt of a request from the Bishop that government reconsiders the stand of withdrawing health workers from PNFPs, especially our facilities like Kagando and the rest. We receipted it and we are following it up with the Minister of Health, with my Committee of Health, which I chair, and we so pray that in the near future, a reconsideration could be made.
Meanwhile, government has pledged to improve tourism roads in Kigezi sub-region to ease access to tourist attractions in the region. Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, Henry Musasizi, says President Yoweri Museveni has tasked the ministry to find funds for improving roads serving the region's tourism sites. He made the remarks during the ordination of priests and seminarians in Kabale.
Kabale Diocese yesterday marked 60 years since its establishment, with 13 priests and 10 seminarians ordained during celebrations attended by a number of people. Among those who attended the celebrations were Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, Henry Musasizi, and Minister of Health, Dr. Chris Baryomonsi, who represented President Yoweri Museveni. Speaking on behalf of the President, Baryomonsi applauded the Catholic Church for its contribution to transforming people's lives and promoting development in the country.
The Catholic Church has done a great work of transforming people's lives through construction of schools, hospitals, and other community services in Uganda. We appreciate the zeal, unwavering dedication, and focus to the humanitarian cause of transforming communities physically and spiritually.
Government has pledged to prioritize the improvement of tourism roads in the Kigezi sub-region to boost connectivity and provide easier access to key tourist destinations. This comes at a time when stakeholders in Kigezi have repeatedly raised concerns about poor road infrastructure, which continues to hamper tourism despite the region's attractions, including Lake Bunyonyi, the deepest lake in the country, and Bwindi and Mugahinga gorilla tracking destinations.
President Yoweri Museveni atushabire ka Minister of Finance mudu kebo buryo turodesende enkuito za tourism omudishwe kanda Kigezi za support.
Minister Musasizi says work has already started on some of the roads, while government is looking for alternative contractors for projects where previous contractors have failed to fulfill their obligations. Meanwhile, in Hoima, 6 priests and 13 deacons were ordained. The Archbishop of Mbarara Diocese, Lambert Binomudsha, urged the newly ordained priests and deacons to serve the church and communities with commitment.
Mube bahereza ba Yesu Kristo ayayemerera hagati y'abegesebwa be nkarukubahereza nakorora kimu n'umutima gwe gwona n'engonzi zona.
Now, Uganda's bid for the UN's top diplomatic job is entering a critical phase, with Olaro Tunu's campaign gathering momentum. But how far can he go? What must he overcome to win? And what could Uganda stand to gain if one of its own takes the world's top diplomatic seat? Tonight on A Diplomatic Watch, Daniel Kibet takes a closer look.
Otunu is competing against 7 other candidates, including former presidents, senior diplomats, and some of the UN's most experienced officials. But this is not his first attempt at the UN's top job. 3 decades ago, Otunu was considered for the same position, only for his own government, led by President Yoweri Museveni, not to back his bid. Today, the political equation has changed dramatically. The same President Museveni who declined to support Otunu then is now personally behind his candidacy, mobilizing Uganda's diplomatic machinery to try to take him to the top of the United Nations. It is a remarkable turnaround and one that makes Otunu's current campaign all the more intriguing. The latest straw poll has given Uganda something to build on. In the first poll, Otunu received 2 encouraged votes, 5 discouraged votes, and 8 countries expressing no opinion. In the second round, his encouraged votes rose to 5. His discouraged votes remained at 5, while those expressing no opinion fell to 5. That puts him in a stronger position than he was at the beginning, although he remains behind the leading candidates. For Kampala, the message is simple. The campaign is gaining traction, but it is far from over. Otunu's strongest selling point is experience.
What I offer, if I'm given the opportunity to be Secretary General, is broad and very deep experience of working across all the 3 pillars of the UN. It is a track record of building consensus and offering innovative solutions in times of deadlock and crisis.
He knows the organization from the inside. He has spent decades negotiating international agreements, working with governments and dealing with some of the world's most difficult conflicts. This week, Otunu faced one of the most important moments of his campaign. He addressed UN member states during an interactive dialogue at the General Assembly. He spoke about the need to reform the United Nations and make it more effective in responding to global crises. And he presented himself as a candidate who could bridge those divisions.
For the United Nations to discharge the responsibilities set out in the Charter, let me say this clearly and simply. Reform is no longer an optional choice. It is an imperative. Without it, the institution is at grave risk. We cannot continue to do business as usual.
But perhaps the most fascinating part of this campaign is the voting system itself. More than 40 years ago, Otunu was involved in developing the informal straw poll system used to assess candidates for UN Secretary General. The idea was to allow Security Council members to signal whether they encourage, discourage, or have no opinion about a candidate. The objective is to identify candidates capable of building consensus and expose those facing serious opposition. Today, Otunu is experiencing that formula from the other side.
St. Francis of Assisi, Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. Where there is sadness, joy. I would embrace this role with the same passion, commitment that I've shown in every leadership position I've had here.
The straw poll itself does not elect the Secretary General. The 15-member Security Council must eventually agree on a candidate and recommend that person to the General Assembly. But there's another crucial hurdle. The Security Council has 5 permanent members: the United States, Russia, China, France, and the United Kingdom. Any one of them can block a candidate. So Otunu must not only attract votes, he must become acceptable to the major powers.
I just hope that you will give consideration to this candidature and that what I bring may be helpful for the UN at this critical moment and the kind of leadership it needs.
For now, Otunu's campaign has moved from survival to possibility. 5 encouraged votes do not make him the front runner, but they show that his candidacy is gaining attention. That's all the time we have for Diplomatic Watch tonight. I'm Daniel Kibet.
And that report from Daniel Kibet wraps up the first segment of NTV Weekend Edition. But here is more of what you should expect when we return. Still to come,
Ugandans' free survival was 49%, and these are excellent findings.
a new cancer treatment breakthrough is raising fresh hope that vaccines could one day become part of the fight against cancer. More in today's Health Focus. And in sport, Namuango Blazers have retained the National Basketball League title after edging City Oilers 81-74 in a dramatic Game 7 overtime thriller at Hoima City Arena. NTV Weekend Edition returns shortly.
Institutional transformation starts with people. This September, Uganda's largest gathering of professionals returns. Welcome to the 31st ICPAU annual seminar, themed Transforming Institutions and Lives for Sustainable Growth. The three-day event is designed to challenge how you think, lead, and grow. Discover how AI is reshaping institutions. Discover how to build sustainable investments and generational wealth. It's more than a seminar. It's an opportunity to learn, connect, and transform. Join us from the 2nd to the 4th of September at the Imperial Resort Beach Hotel, NTV, or join us online. For fees and registration, visit www.icpau.co.ug.
Hello, Mr. Mukasa.
Hello, how are you?
I'm okay, sir. Are you the broker?
The original one.
I was told you have very good rentals.
That is right. How many bedrooms do you want?
I want 3 bedrooms.
Okay, did I tell you of the price?
Yes, of course. 500,000.
No. This side, the side went a bit high.
Why?
Because the paint we use is of good quality. So the place gained the value.
Which paint?
Global paint.
How?
For the ceiling, for us we use Global Mat. And for the inside walls, we use Global Silk Vinyl.
Okay, tell me about the outside walls.
Outside we use Global Weather Coat Emulsion so that the walls don't peel.
I'm really impressed. The precision you put while painting, I'm willing to pay any amount.
That is true, because here for us quality is paramount and the place becomes humidity.
Global Paint, a reliable product.
Our bodies are sustained by nature's endless gifts. From the food we eat to the air we breathe, the vitamins and minerals strengthen us, helping us glow and thrive. Introducing Vitamin N for nature. Give your skin a daily dose of Vitamin N. Experience Amara Skincare. Packed with Vitamin N. Amara. Embrace nature.
Can I have a light, please? What is this?
Castor Light, the best testing light.
Try it.
Try it, try it, try it. Da, 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 da.
Guys, look at this post.
Nothing hits like extra cold. Castle Light. Try it.
You are watching NTV Weekend Edition.
Welcome back. Continuing with NTV Weekend Edition. A new cancer treatment breakthrough is raising fresh hope that vaccines could one day become part of the fight against cancer. Results from a major phase 3 trial by Moderna and Merck show their personalized mRNA cancer vaccine given alongside Keytruda significantly reduced the risk of melanoma returning or spreading in patients whose tumors had been surgically removed. But what does this breakthrough mean for cancer patients, and could this technology eventually transform cancer treatment in Uganda? Walter Mwesuje explains.
With me is Dr. Nixon Nyonzima.
the cancer specialist here at the Uganda Cancer Institute. The last time I met you, Doctor, you were heading training and research. Do you still hold the same position?
Yes, I do.
All right. So tell us about this trial vaccine that the Merck has been working on for over 10 years now. And they told us on Wednesday that they have seen some good results, meaning we might be closer to a cancer vaccine.
Thank you, Walter. So earlier this week, Merck and Moderna, you remember Moderna for the COVID-19 vaccines, released results of phase 3 trial that they've been conducting. And they've been looking at a cancer vaccine in combination with immunotherapy, for melanoma. Malignant melanoma is a skin cancer, not very common in Uganda, but when it does appear, it's a very, very dangerous cancer, comes with advanced stage disease, and for most patients, there's almost no cure. So Merck and Moderna partnered to develop a cancer vaccine, a melanoma vaccine. Merck developed what we call pembrolizumab or Keytruda, which is an immunotherapy targeting a number of different cancers. And Moderna, which specializes in what we call mRNA technology, again in developing vaccines, developed the vaccine, which was combined with the pembrolizumab, and together they were able to achieve fantastic results. Now, these results, they were measuring two endpoints or two criteria that they were measuring. That is recurrence-free survival. That is the number of, or the proportion of patients who don't have recurrence of the disease, or death within the period of study. And they found that recurrence-free survival was 49%. And these are excellent findings. But they also found that patients who had no metastasis of disease or death was up to 59%. What this means is, again, that this is a cancer that can be targeted with these cancer vaccines and with this immunotherapy.
Would this technology then have an impact on any other cancers, or is it specifically going to target the melanoma or that of the skin?
So potentially this technology can be used for each and every cancer. It is quite complex technology. It's called individualized neoantigen therapy. What that means is that it's a therapy that is specific to every patient and every cancer.
Yeah.
So as you can imagine, how it works is that you get the tumor or the cancer of the patient. You look at the abnormal proteins that cancer is expressing, so the proteins that are not normal, or related to normal body cells, and then you develop a vaccine that is targeting those abnormal proteins. But as you can imagine, you have to get for every patient, characterize or type for every patient, and then develop a vaccine for every patient. Now, Merck and Moderna say that they're able to produce to scale.
Yeah.
But what that means is that you need to have infrastructure. But potentially, this is a therapy that can apply to every cancer. Moderna and Merck together are already studying a number of other cancers. They're studying lung cancer, they're studying bladder cancers, and they're also studying pancreatic cancers. A lot of these cancers already have no cure, so these therapies are exciting. But again, with more science, they can be applied to almost every cancer available.
How does this reflect on countries in Africa that don't really, get enough funding towards research and science? But also, how do you take this news as, science within the continent of Africa?
One, regardless of where you are in the world, this is very exciting news.
Yeah.
It's a game-changing revelation, game-changing innovation that we can develop a cancer vaccine that can target a universal platform that you can use for practically every cancer. But for us in Africa, for example, without significant investment in innovation and science, it's going to be difficult even to apply these technologies again that have been developed. I'll give you an example. For melanoma, for the vaccine that was used in this trial, they had to determine the mutational signature. Mutational signatures look at all the sum of the abnormalities in the cancer. Now, to do that, you have to have a robust cancer genomics or sequencing program. We do not have that program yet in Uganda. We are on the pathway towards that. It requires significant financial investment so that you're able to characterize or describe the tumor adequately at the molecular level, and then from that determine the abnormal proteins or the mutations that you find, and then develop the vaccine. Now, we're not too far theoretically. Now, we also even have a student currently who is looking at potential vaccines or antigens for lung cancer. Now, we're using what has been published, or we're sending our samples abroad to be sequenced, but that robs us of a lot. So if we can be able to build this infrastructure locally, you're able to adequately characterize the cancers, then it's possible that even the scientists we have here can actually develop potential vaccines for these cancers. But in addition, we would be able to use the platforms that have been developed. For example, even if Moderna was to come here to develop the vaccine that they're using, again, it's individualized, so you have to get the cancer of that patient and type it.
Yeah.
We need to have the technology to type that patient's cancer. We need to be able to establish the mutational burden, and cancer globally is actually moving towards that direction of individualized cancer therapies. Very few of them are now looking at one bullet kills all. It's basically individualizing the therapy to the patient, to the cancer that patient has.
Where do we stand with the mRNA? I don't know if I should say as a country or maybe as a continent to a larger picture.
As the country, since COVID-19, we have made some significant investments in science and innovation. However, we have not yet produced our own mRNA-based vaccine in the country, but we have significant investment in this infrastructure that we're able to produce some of these products. Again, not for cancer, but we're able to do some of these for some infectious diseases. And you've heard of some vaccines also being produced, not mRNA-based, but for ticks and for other basically infectious diseases. Now, for cancer, I can confidently say that we have not yet advanced significantly in terms of producing an mRNA vaccine in Uganda.
Yeah.
We are setting up the infrastructure at the moment, and we hope before the end of this year to have a cancer genomics laboratory to characterize our cancers locally.
Yeah.
So it is, again, from that data that you characterize your cancers, you have the mutational burden, the mutational signature of the cancers in Uganda, that then you can have a bank of the abnormal proteins, the abnormal tumors, that then you can use to develop this vaccine. Or you can find the abnormal proteins and then have the mRNA technology that you can use to introduce these antigens into patients or into studies such that you can produce the vaccines. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Nixon, for your time and helping us to break down these complex science things, which carry good news either way.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's good news wherever it is in the world, even us, but looking at the future, we need to make this technology accessible to more Africans, accessible to more Ugandans.
Yeah.
And the only way we can do that is investing and innovating within Africa.
All right. Yeah. Thank you. Dr. Nixon Niozima, he is the head of training and research here at the Cancer Institute. And that is all we had for you tonight. Have a very good evening.
Still in health, in day 2 and final episode on palliative care, we speak to Dr. Eve Namisango, the Executive Director of African Palliative Care Association, who explains when and why one should start receiving palliative care. She is currently battling breast cancer, a condition brought by swelling of her lymph nodes that led her to lose one of her breasts.
Yesterday, we showed you a story of Prosina Nyonga, who is suffering from a cancer illness, one that led her to lose her left breast. A mother of 2 is currently in the hands of her close friends, who are now looking after her and the children. We speak to Dr. Ivna Misango, the Executive Director of African Palliative Care Association, who explains when one is supposed to receive palliative care.
The palliative care is for anybody who is living with serious illness. It could be COVID-19, it could be Ebola, it could be heart failure, cancer, sickle cell, advanced kidney disease, severe burns.
She describes why one should receive palliative care and when.
When a serious condition comes in, you are threatened as a holistic human being. You have physical symptoms, your soul is worried, you have psychological concerns, you have family or social issues, you have practical concerns. Previously, you could walk on your own, now you have to be supported. You could turn yourself on your bed, now you can no longer do that. You could go to work, now you have lost the work. So it is so many things around you, and you need this special type of care, which is called palliative care, to hold you together, to address the physical symptoms, to handle your soul, because even if you're to die, the soul has to be prepared. In fact, for many people, the soul even matters more than the body, and yet it is what we commonly neglect.
For many like Nanyonga, Dr. Namisango explains the process of how one can receive palliative care from the different hospitals.
If you're, say, a person who has just been diagnosed with cancer, and you, should we say, you're in Kotido, and once you are referred to the Cancer Institute, because this is the biggest cancer care center we have in Uganda, you'll come and walk through the gate, and where your first stop will be the registration desk. And usually when you come here, they will expect you to come with a confirmed cancer diagnosis, because our doctors don't want to get into trouble for treating somebody who potentially doesn't even have cancer. So they will usually insist on a confirmed cancer diagnosis. If you have that, then you will continue to be registered and you'll get a file. Now you're a patient in the hands of the Uganda Cancer Institute. And once that is done, you will be evaluated. There are several things that they have to look at, and so that they have a good background about you and your health. And once that is done, then you'll be scheduled to see an oncologist or a specialist in cancer. And it may depend on the type of cancer you have. If it is the breast, you'll see a specialist in that line. If it is the esophagus, you'll see a specialist in that line. And once you have now seen the specialist or the oncologist, then they will give you the treatment plan. And it is after that that you may start your chemotherapy, your radiotherapy, your surgery, your palliative care, or you can even have all of them. It will depend on what the oncologist feels is appropriate for you.
Receiving palliative care is free at the different hospices. Despite this fact, Dr. Namisango says these facilities cannot meet all the required demands by the patients. She explains what should be done.
The palliative care teams may provide the care, but they may not solve the socioeconomic problems. So we want our communities to be creative. I've seen people approach the media and they put out requests for support for funding. They could go also to the radio to appeal to the public, or the churches to appeal to people of goodwill to support them to address some of their socioeconomic issues. But the palliative care teams will also be able to do what they can, especially to manage the symptoms, which usually cost a lot of money and make peace of mind impossible.
She says that when one receives palliative care, they can cure from intense illnesses. She also adds that caring homes are needed in Uganda for those willing to look after their loved ones in a more caring environment. She explains how one should look like.
But I think it's good. I trained in the United Kingdom and I had an opportunity to spend quality time at St. Christopher's Hospice. And this is a hospice where families commonly bring their loved ones who are at the end of life, and they want that quality care, symptoms well managed, a good team to spend time with, an opportunity to have people who are there to journey with you so that you realize your end of life care wishes.
Maria Jacinta Kanyange, NTV.
In the news radar this week, two major political stories will command attention this week. Kizza Besigye's treason trial resumes as prosecutors turn to recorded evidence, while Olaro Tunu continues lobbying for support in the race for UN Secretary General. Now, both stories will test how far two of Uganda's best-known political figures can advance under very different circumstances.
What I offer, if I'm given the opportunity to be Secretary General, is broad and very deep experience of working across all the three pillars of the UN.
Ambassador Olaro Otunu continues Uganda's campaign for the United Nations top job this week. While his rating has since gone up in the Security Council's informal polling, we do not have any new straw poll date confirmed this week yet. However, more is expected, and that is real diplomacy. Meetings, lobbying, and more handshakes. Ultimately, becoming United Nations Secretary General requires something Uganda's top diplomats really have to worry about. That's keeping America, China, Russia, France, and the United Kingdom happy at the same time. We wish them the very best. And back home, Kizza Besigye's treason trial returns to court on Monday, August 24. Prosecutors are expected to present audio and video recordings as they seek to prove allegations of a plot to overthrow Museveni's government. Besigye denies the allegations while he is being tried in his absentia. Also on Monday, August 24, government begins a 100-day crackdown on dangerously unroadworthy taxis in Greater Kampala. Bad tires, faulty brakes, and broken doors have to be off our roads. Taxi operators may resist, but the government is determined to go ahead.
We have given a directive to police. It is within our laws to enforce this. All Oganyegenya taxis should get off the road.
And as always, commuters are trapped in between, and perhaps more congestion is expected in the train. And before we forget, medical interns have been told to return to their training centers as government restored a net monthly allowance of shillings 1 million.
Cabinet agreed and resolved, effective this month of August till end of the year, all the doctor internship students, whether private or government sponsored, will be paid the same amount of allowance of 1 million shillings.
While the government has treated the immediate symptom, the salary argument remains in intensive care. Also expected this week, the government anti-corruption sweep continues, from local government to URSB and now to the Auditor General's office. But one question remains, are we building institutions or just producing very energetic ministers? Also this week on Wednesday, August 26, display of voters' register for the Adjumani West by-election closes. The seat fell vacant following the death of General Moses Ali. Polling is expected on September 17. And here we are again. On Saturday, August 29, National Cleaning Day returns. From 7 a.m. to 10 a.m., you are expected to clean your area. The main national exercise will take place in Chaliwajal. But the biggest question is, who collects the rubbish after everybody has put down their broom. Because moving garbage from the drainage channel to the roadside is not waste management. It is merely changing garbage address. And finally in sport, Ugandan swimmers are set to represent us in this year's edition of the Association of National Olympic Committees of Africa Games that start tomorrow in Nairobi, Kenya. The 5-day event brings together about 300 young athletes from 11 nations to compete in athletics, swimming, basketball, among other sports. In a nutshell, this is a week of cleanups, crackdowns, life-saving battles, and very ambitious promises. I am Johnson Mayamba, News Radar.
There and their exit there. This is it.
So where is the building?
Fast, stress-free construction. Get your factory-made buildings in 12 weeks with SafBuild. Order yours now. SafBuild, a quality building solution from Uganda Bati.
Take a look around, and you'll see everything can be reimagined. Everything rough can be smooth. Everything old can be fresh. Everything can be made vibrant and full of attitude. The world is what you make it. So why not make it yours? Guinness Smooth. Make it yours.
Mami! I want everything, eh? Yes. So, when I pay the time, this will increase my loan limits. Madam, remove the food, put more meat, add the meat, yes. Now, these are the fruits of paying your loan is in time.
That's right. Every time you repay your Momo loan on time, your loan limit can increase, giving you access to more money when you need it most. Dial *165*5# to borrow, pay back, and grow your limit with Momo loans.
You have juice? Yes. Juice in me.
You are watching NTV Weekend Edition.
On to sport, we do start off with action from the National Basketball League final, where Namuwongo Blazers retained the National Basketball League title after edging City Oilers 81-74 in a dramatic Game 7 overtime thriller at the Hoima City Arena. The Blazers held their nerve in a tightly contested decider before taking control in extra time to secure their second consecutive championship.
That's the final buzzer, ladies and gentlemen.
Namuwongo Blazers continued to rise in the Uganda basketball hierarchy last evening after beating rival City Oilers 81-74 in an overtime Game 7 thriller played last evening at Hoima City Arena.
Tonight for Uganda basketball.
It was a fitting finale to a closely fought championship series, with neither side willing to give an inch through the four quarters.
Within touching distance, the Namuwongo Namungo Blazers delivered.
With a championship on the line, Oilers forward Lanji Ndikumana stepped up to the free throw line and calmly converted to bring the scores level and force overtime.
He gets 2 for 2. Tie game, ladies and gentlemen.
But the extra period belonged to Namungo. The Blazers tightened up defensively, denying the Oilers easy entry passes into the key and forcing them into difficult shots. At the other end, Namungo remained composed, making the most of their possessions to build a decisive lead and eventually seal an 81-74 victory.
They fought, they battled, they believed, and now they are champions.
Playoffs' most valuable player, Fataki Nyembo, was at the center of the Blazers' offensive effort, producing a game-high 35 points to a cup-dominant post-season.
Nyembo Fataki with a double-handed jump.
Jimmy Enabu and Anthony Chukura added 12 points each, while Namungo also won the battle on the boards 55-48. For City Oilers, Patrick Rembat led the scoring with 27 points, while Faid Mbale and Landry Ndikumana contributed 14 and 10 points respectively. The Oilers' hopes of reclaiming the title faded in overtime, with Rembat left on the floor at the final buzzer as their title defense came to an end. The victory gives Namungo Blazers their second consecutive National Basketball League championship and another opportunity to represent Uganda on the Basketball Africa League stage. It also caps a dramatic playoff campaign that included a dispute over City Oilers' use of more than 4 foreign-based players, a matter that was referred to the National Council of Sports. Best on the court, Namungo settled the championship in decisive fashion, surviving Game 7 and overtime to remain at the summit of Ugandan basketball.
City Oil fought, Namungo finished. The defending champions have done it again.
Still in sport, a team of youthful players from different sport disciplines, including swimming, 3x3 basketball, judo, cycling and athletics, has been flagged off for the second edition of the Association of National Olympic Committees of Africa.
Really wish, and we know we are going to perform better, bring medals to Uganda, make our country very proud. Yeah, we've been training together, like from our schools, attending East Africa, playing regionals at the same time, but from different teams, but we know each other. I've been playing with them. Yeah, that's all.
We are having a competition, Anoka Games. We are going to represent our dear country with spirit and power. As the judo team, we are a team of 3. We are going to represent our country in Kenya, Nairobi, and we shall make sure we shall get the win. On top of it, we make our country proud of us.
These are youth games that are meant to help prepare some of the young people who will be participating. And some of them have already qualified for Dakar. Some are hoping to qualify for the Youth Olympics, which will be in Dakar later on this year in October, November. So these youth games provide an important breeding ground and preparation ground for our young people. And we are hoping that through these zonal games, we're able to build the capacity of our youth. And we're looking forward to a team of about 21, budget permitting, going to Nairobi.
In volleyball, Uganda's women volleyball team has registered a thrilling 2-3 victory over Senegal in a friendly match played at Kasarani Stadium in Kenya ahead of the CAVB Women's Nations Championship hosted in Nairobi, Kenya. Now 16 national teams, including Uganda's Lady Volleyball Cranes, are competing across venues like the Kasarani Indoor Arena.
You see, this friendly match we have had, at least we have gained confidence. Yeah, people are in good shape. Yeah. So we started from behind. We lost 2 first sets, and because I believe that players were not warm, they didn't warm enough. And the second thing, the confidence, they were not having it. But then from down, I think from first set and second set, people had warmed up. So, and they started to play their game. If you see the way we started, every ball attack was going out, nothing was working for us.
And because we have come from down and aged them 3-2, I want to inform our supporters that we have already tested the West Africa. And what is remaining is maybe the Northern Africa and Southern Africa. But as I look at it, I want to give them hopes that the team seem to have prepared so well, and we need to be confident and rally behind them. They are going to give us results because really the urge is there. We can see it, and we see the morale is there. So.
And finally in sport, Kamali Girls Boarding School netball team has revealed their dire need for attires and other necessities ahead of the national netball competition due next week in Mobende. The team was flagged off by Kamali Municipal legislator Mastula Namato